Stay tuned. Roman Reigns reveals why he has been trying to fix the Bloodline in WWE. Roman Reigns and the original Bloodline are finally back together, and they are set to take on Solo Sikoa's Bloodline in a War Games match at Survivor Series. The premium live event is set to take place at Rogers Arena in Vancouver, Canada on November 30. Ahead of the show, Roman Reigns recently responded to a fan message on TikTok, noting that there was a reason why he had been pushing to put his family back together. It's unclear if this is a tease for another family member to make his return, since Paul Heyman has been very obviously absent over the past few weeks while the rest of the OG Bloodline members reunite. Reigns noted that he was still trying to fix everything when his family was already back together, so this could be about Heyman or the issues he has with Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu are obviously his family, and Sikoa is the only member of the Bloodline who hasn't reunited with Roman since his return, because he now believes that he is the tribal chief. Solo Sikoa has put Roman Reigns through hell since his return to the company at SummerSlam, and Reigns will ensure that he is able to repay the favor when he steps inside War Games in 2 weeks' time. Reigns has the Usos and Sami Zayn in his corner, but it seems that the teams will be 5 versus 5, since both teams headed over to Raw this week to try to recruit the 5th member for their respective teams. Interestingly, both teams have approached Seth Rollins on Raw, who has a lot of history with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. However, Rollins has rejected both offers. It will be interesting to see which stars make up the final team members when the main roster's final premium live event of the year takes place on November 30. Roman Reigns' journey with the Bloodline has been one of WWE's most gripping story arcs, especially with its evolution over the past few years. The stable has risen from a seemingly ordinary faction into a powerful force driven by loyalty, family, and respect, but equally mad by deception, betrayal, and power struggles. Lately, fans have noticed a shift in the tribal chief's demeanor, as he seems increasingly invested in mending the fractures that have formed within the Bloodline. In a recent interview, Reigns broke his silence, offering a few words that teased much more to come. As he simply put it, stay tuned. Roman Reigns has always been portrayed as a leader who holds family above all else. The Bloodline represents not only his immediate relatives, but also his roots, his heritage, and his pride in the Anoa'i legacy. To truly understand why Roman is so dedicated to fixing the Bloodline, one must go back to its inception and the impact it has had on his WWE career. The Bloodline wasn't just a faction, it was Roman Reigns' answer to years of being undervalued and misunderstood by fans. When he rebranded himself as the tribal chief, he was finally in control, setting his own narrative. He brought Jey Uso on board, forming a partnership based on loyalty and dominance. The emotional conflicts, especially in his early encounters with Jey, showcased the deeper meaning behind the Bloodline. It wasn't just about ruling the WWE, it was about upholding a legacy, preserving the family's honor, and giving the WWE Universe something unforgettable. But as the storyline evolved, so did the complexity of their relationships. Over the years, the Bloodline has grown, with Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa, and even Sami Zayn joining at various points. The group's chemistry became a focal point of WWE programming. However, as with many powerful families, loyalty became hard to maintain. Sami's betrayal, Jey's inner conflict, Jimmy's rebellion, and Solo's struggles have all introduced significant rifts. Reigns' recent statements indicate that he is painfully aware of these cracks and sees his role as the one to mend them. Stay tuned, he warned, hinting that the tensions and divisions within the Bloodline are far from resolved. This simple phrase gives the impression that Roman's dedication to fixing the Bloodline has only just begun and that fans have only seen the tip of the iceberg. Roman Reigns' attempt to fix the Bloodline is more than a simple plotline. In WWE, the Bloodline has become a representation of power, culture, and kinship. For Roman, the stakes are incredibly high. The Bloodline is his legacy. If he lets it crumble, it isn't just the end of a faction, but a dishonor to his heritage and to the generations of Anoa'i family members who have graced the ring before him. One of the main reasons Roman is so determined to fix the Bloodline is the fear of losing everything he has worked to build. When Roman re-emerged as the tribal chief, It marked the beginning of a legacy unlike any other in modern wrestling. The tribal chief persona isn't just a character, it's an embodiment of his journey from WWE's polarizing babyface to its most compelling heel. The Bloodline has been central to this journey, amplifying his charisma, influence, and power. This storyline has elevated Roman's career to legendary status, and his leadership has put the Inoue family in WWE's spotlight like never before. If he fails to repair the Bloodline, it risks tarnishing everything he has worked to build. This emotional connection to his roots and family is a driving force, pushing him to ensure that the Bloodline remains unbroken. The current situation within the Bloodline is tense. Jimmy's recent rebellious actions against Roman indicate that loyalty in the group is now more complicated than ever. Jimmy, who once submitted to Roman's authority, has now grown defiant, and Jay has repeatedly wavered in his allegiance. Solo Sikoa, on the other hand, remains a bit of a wild card. Though he shows respect to his cousin, there's a sense that Solo's loyalty is conditional and could shift depending on how the dynamics unfold. Then there's the departure of Sami Zayn, whose time in the Bloodline brought a strange blend of humor, camaraderie, and ultimately betrayal. Sami's arc underscored how fragile trust is within the faction. His departure left a hole in the group's dynamic and reminded Roman that family doesn't always mean loyalty. These tensions have clearly weighed on Roman, who realizes that without unity, the Bloodline will eventually collapse. In his interview, Reigns alluded to a master plan. Although he didn't reveal specifics, his words strongly suggest he has a strategy in place to reunite the Bloodline. Roman is no stranger to mind games, and it's likely he will continue to use psychological tactics to bring his family back in line. For Reigns, every conflict within the Bloodline is a test, and each family member has a role to play. The recent storyline with Jimmy shows that Roman might be willing to take a harder stance to enforce loyalty. If reconciliation doesn't work, Roman might have to embrace a more ruthless approach to remind everyone of his authority. This could mean taking on each member individually and reaffirming his status as the tribal chief. However, there is also the possibility that Roman could surprise everyone by showing a softer, more understanding side. After all, he has shown moments of vulnerability in the past, especially with Jay. Another possibility is that Roman will introduce new allies into the Bloodline. Bringing in a fresh face could reinvigorate the faction and shift the power balance. WWE has a deep roster, and Roman could look to extend the family legacy by recruiting members from other Inoue bloodlines or forming alliances with wrestlers who could serve as new enforcers for the group. Roman Reigns' statement, "Stay tuned," isn't just a passing remark, it's a promise that something big is in the works. With Survivor Series and WrestleMania season approaching, there are plenty of opportunities for WWE to push the Bloodline storyline to new heights. Given Roman's talent for delivering dramatic moments, fans can expect that his plan will unfold slowly, building suspense and showcasing the tensions within the family. There's also a possibility that the Bloodline story might evolve into a major faction war. Other stables like Judgment Day or Imperium could step into the picture, leading to a multi-faction clash that could elevate Roman's journey to epic proportions. Roman's quest to fix the Bloodline might involve not only winning back his family's loyalty, but also defending his position against external threats. Ultimately, Roman Reigns' dedication to repairing the Bloodline speaks to his commitment to the story and his fans. Reigns has mastered the art of drawing the audience in, keeping them invested, and making every decision feel monumental. His promise to stay tuned is an invitation to fans to witness the next chapter of his legacy, knowing that whatever unfolds will be a spectacle worth watching.